How you doing? Thanks for joining, man. Good after, morning, evening, night. For those in many different time zones. Welcome to the stream. And we're going to get underway here. Appreciate you guys joining. And just a stream on a Thursday afternoon here in the Northeast and flying the Diamond DA-62. Been putting a lot of hours on this plane lately in explaining VR and FSEconomy, and it's a great little plane, pretty quick, 6 passengers, lots of fun to fly. But anyway, we're going to be flying in the Western network today, up in the mountains of Montana. Interesting flight out there in our Western network, and got a lot to talk about today. Expansion of both the West and the East, the VR Aviation networks, some new planes, financials. Going to talk about SimVRLabs and a group flight that I'm planning. So got a bunch of things to talk about. About a 170-mile flight today back to KBTM from Big Sandy. I just flew 6 people out here, so I'm going to fly, I think, 6 people back. And plenty of nice flights like that in the West. Well, this plane is perfect for FSC because of those 6 passengers. You know, before using the Baron, you had 5 passengers, but getting that 1 extra person, and plus this thing sips gas. So you can, I think it cost me $75 in fuel to fly 175 miles from Burt Mooney out to here, Big Sandy, which is nothing, right? So it's pretty frugal when it comes to operation costs, and it moves pretty quick. It can cruise at about 155, 160, somewhere around there. So you can get those flights in pretty quickly. So we've got about an hour, a little over an hour today, and going to do some flight planning first and get underway. So thanks to everyone for joining. Let's get right to it. So let's see here. That's not the window that I want. That's the window that I want. All right, so this is going to be our plan for today. As I said, we're coming from Big Sandy, right here, 3U8. And we're going to be flying at 9,000 feet, just to make sure we're over all the tips. The tops. We'll make a turn here at Fort Harrison, staying out of airspace of Helena. Or Helena, I guess it is. Is it Helena or Helena? I'm not sure. And we'll be crossing over into our approach into Butte and Burt Mooney. So pretty simple. Burt Mooney's at 5,500 feet. So we'll start to descend right around here and get down to nice altitude. So 9,000, I think, should do it all the way. Should be a comfortable flight. Look at that. I don't see any peaks there above 9. Doesn't look like it. These are all 8, 6. So yeah, so 9,000. We'll do 9,500 just to be safe. Alright, so that's our flight, and again, we're at Sandy. We're going to be taking, we've got 6 passengers coming back to KBTM Burt Mooney, and this is the Diamond that we actually bought for the group yesterday. So we own this plane, so come on out to the Western Network and fly it. If you're a member of VR Aviation, you fly it for free. We pay all the expenses and all the gas and all that stuff, and you get a 45% pilot fee. We're going to be just raised it 5% from 40 to 45, and hopefully as we start to get more cash in the bank, we'll even bring it up even further. So you can see cruising speed of 172. That's ground speed, and then about 100-gallon tank. Burn 17 an hour. I guess I burn like 14 an hour when I'm up there. I run at about 75%. 6 passengers, which is nice, and very low miles on this plane. So that's our plane for today. And we're going to go over the group stuff once we get in the air and stuff. So that's that. let's see. So, we're going to be flying VFR today. Upper left-hand corner is for flight, so you can see what's going on here. I already have my flight plan in. Already loaded that into the G1000, so we're good there. I need to set my radios, so we're going to be, what's our frequency here? We're 122.9. Setcom 1, 122.9.
Com 1 set to 122.09er.
All right, no. Setcom 1, 122.9.
Com 1 set to 122.9er.
There you go. Wonder if I should actually say niner. Not sure. But in any event, get my shoes off. I like to actually fly the rudders barefoot. Just feels more comfortable. Oh, Crash, I think you got to give in, dude. It's I put it off too. I put it off until FSC had the plane, and once FSC had the plane, I bought it. And let me tell you, it's a great plane. It's amazing in VR. The frame rates are great. The textures are great. The flight physics are great. The sounds are great. It's awesome. In fact, I wanted to just adjust the one thing before I go here. Let's go to settings, sound, and I want a little more external, a little more interior. So we could hear like because you can actually hear like the elevators move. Like, let me just move it. You can hear the electric elevators move. So like when your autopilot is functioning, you can hear the elevators, right? Here's our flaps. So I can actually do that interior a little bit more here. I like to hear that stuff, you know? Exterior is probably good enough. I don't want it too loud. So if you can hear that, let's just do. That's a little louder now. And now you can hear those elevators, which is really cool. Anyway, so great sounds, great textures. One of the best planes in VR. There's no doubt in my mind. It's one of the best planes in VR. Anyway, we'll talk more about that as we're flying. But yeah, you want me to stop selling the plane? And I bought this plane. No one gave this plane to me. I bought this plane. All right, so we've got our radios set. Assume checklists. Okay, that we went through checklists because I want to get in the air here. I believe all the breakers work too. If you look and see, they're all clickable regions. All the breakers are clickable. So that stuff all works, which is really neat. All these switches work. The alerts work. You know, completely 100% VR compatible. And I know that the SimVRLabs made a few tweaks to it, so they have some. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, it's a cool plane. And this is the VR Aviation livery. I guess I should probably talk about that a little bit. So there we go, the VR Aviation livery. VRA on the there's the rudder, elevators, ailerons. See, the plane sits high on the ground. I mean, you got to step up there to get into it. I didn't realize that. It's a lot higher than the Cirrus. It looks like a Wasp. In fact, I was thinking about doing a yellow jacket livery. I thought that would be kind of cool. Have that have the Stinger be over there, and be kind of cool. But anyway, so this is the livery that I did for VR Aviation. This is available on the org if you want to check that out. I thought it looked pretty cool. And the one thing I think that SimVRLabs does is they give you the teleporting into different seats, the back seats and stuff, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, all that said, we're going to taxi here. Let me get FSEconomy cranking here. So got that turned on. Just loaded that. Just verified that. So we got our passengers. We're going to get a $500 bonus coming back to Burt Mooney, which is good. And good to go. So, let's see here. Big Sandy. All right, Big Sandy traffic. Diamond 328 Delta Alpha is taxiing from GA parking to runway. Oops, don't know the number of the runway. That's not good. Let's see, where's the information? Runway 24 or 06? I guess it's no, it's probably 24, right? Because we're heading west. There's no diagram. Two four. That's why 4 flight comes in handy. Getting my shit together here. All right, Big Sandy traffic. Diamond 328 Delta Alpha is taxiing from GA parking to runway 24 for western departure. Big Sandy. All right, we got our passengers on board. Everybody's buckled up. Doors are closed and locked. And we are ready to go. Parking brake released. We are taxiing.
Approaching runway 1331.
Now, one thing I've changed in my configuration since
Entered runway 1331.
11.20 is I've increased textures from high to maximum.
Approaching runway 24.
And really, the frame rates have been fine. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but if you follow my channel...
Entered runway 24. 3,600 feet remaining.
Thank you, Siri. If you follow my channel, about a month and a half ago, maybe longer, I decided to turn off the frame rate option in X-Plane. I don't want to know frame rates anymore. I just want to fly. I got so consumed with configuration tweaking that I didn't spend any time flying. So we're gonna, we're gonna stick with that trend. So Big Sandy traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha departing runway 24 to the west. Big Sandy. All right, here we go. Oh, actually, no. Sorry. Good thing there's no one here. So let's get our autopilot set up. So we're going to be nav, and we're going to set altitude 94.
Altimeter 0940.
Set altimeter 922.
Altimeter 0923.
No. Set altimeter 2992.
Altimeter 2992.
All right, we're gonna climb to 9,500. All right, here we go. So we're gonna go vertical speed up. We're gonna go at 700 feet per minute, and all we got to do is hit nav and autopilot, and we'll be good to go here. So here we go. Flaps set to takeoff. We're at 85%. Release those brakes. And rotate. Goes gear up. Gear up, flaps up. Big Sandy traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha departing the pattern to the west. Last call, Big Sandy. All right, we're out of here. All right, let's get our autopilot on now. And that should take us nicely. You hear those elevators? The trim? Isn't that cool? You hear the electric sound of those motors in the trim, which is really cool. There's the trim wheel right there. Oh, there's our headset, or the passenger's headset right there. Alright, so we're going to climb to 9,500. And that should get us above all these mountains and stuff. And We got 121 miles to our first waypoint. That's pretty close to, it's about 40 miles or 50 miles away from our destination. So we're gonna, once we get to altitude, we'll bring things back to 75%. Now this plane has the ECU technology, which I believe is a technology that automatically adjusts the mixture, because there's no mixture on this plane. Okay, all you have is a throttle for both engines. There's no mixture at all. So there's a computer that's basically controlling that. My understanding. So basically, all you have to do, in fact, even the prop, there's no prop as well. So all you have to do is basically manage the throttle. And I should have tested the ECU before we took off. It's a pretty simple test, but we're going to assume that works okay. All right, so we're climbing the 9,500. This is all ortho, by the way, so get some nice views of the highlands of Montana. Now I want to see if that environmental's a little loud. Let me just see if I can adjust that. Sounds, environment. Oh, is that the? I'm assuming that's the wind. All right, climbing nicely to 4,600. Yeah, I did. I started the FSE. Hey, M9, how you doing? Thanks for joining, man. Guys, if you haven't checked out M9's YouTube channel, make sure you do. M9, if you want to put a link in the chat, that's fine. He just posted a real-world video of him flying, I believe it's an Arrow. I watched a few minutes of it. I'm going to watch the whole thing tonight, but check it out. He's a real-world pilot, one of our VR Aviation pilots. Flies SR-20, Arrow, a bunch of other planes, so make sure you check out his YouTube channel. So, in any event, so let me just, once I get to altitude, then we'll go over the update. I mean, look how smooth everything is. Think about what I have running here. I got OBS running. I've got Air Server running for the iPad. I've got VR running, I've got X-Plane running, I've got a bunch of stuff like SimVRLabs, blah, blah, blah running, and smooth rates. And you got to remember, X-Plane is using one core, right? It's using one virtual one virtual CPU because of its limitations of OpenGL. This plane is optimized. That's my only summation, right? This plane is, that's why, to me, it's worth it. It's just, it's like the Challenger. The Challenger, the D-Den's Challenger is the same thing. Totally optimized. You very rarely get frame issues. You get stuttering. This plane, same thing. Smooth immersion. Like, it's very immersive. Anyway, that's one reason why I think it's worth $35. Aside from other reasons. The West is so fun to fly. I don't fly here enough. I fly a lot in the East. That's because for VR Aviation, I manage the East, so I'm doing a lot of stuff with the Fbos and making sure supplies and fuel and all that stuff. And there's a lot of work to do that. I know sometimes you guys help out, which is great, but I don't fly out West enough. It's a lot more. It's a lot of fun to fly. I don't want to say more fun. It's a lot of fun to fly in and out of the mountains and have to navigate to make sure you're not, you know, you're flying safe, and some really nice scenic things as well. So, but listen, I like the East too, especially as you go out to like the Appalachians up in like in Maryland and Western Pennsylvania. We got some nice FBOs out there. You fly in and out of some of the hills and the mountains and stuff. So, it's a pretty cool places to fly there too. But this is pretty cool. All right, we're coming to 7,200. Everything in the green. Oh, wow. I forgot my transponder. See, this is why check lot. Gotta do your oops. Set transponder 1200.
Transponder set to 1200.
Set transponder 1200.
Transponder already set to 1200.
Let's go to transponder altitude. Transpond back. Transponder code 1200. Beautiful. All right, we're squawking altitude at 1200. Piper Dakota. Thank you. Sorry, Piper Dakota. Yeah, don't you love that? Check that out. That little chart right there. Isn't that cool? Nice little touch. Nice little touch. Now, in real life, I probably would have flight following because I'm going to be going near Helena airspace. Even though my flight plan is outside of the airspace, but I probably wouldn't want to have flight following. But in fake life, we're just flying VFR. All right, coming up to 9,000. Everything running smooth. I really do like this bird M9. I really do. I really do. Yeah, monitor the frequency. Yeah. I'm not going to do that in this flight, but yes, you would want to do that, but I think you'd want to be careful as you go past that airspace. I'm kind of like being a little, you know, I'm not really going by the book, if you will, in any event. All right, 9,500. We'll start to level off here. We'll bring this back to 75%. That should fly us at about 155, which is about 170 ground speed. We're 162 right now, 163, 164. This thing, like I said, it just sips fuel. Alright, so we've got about 52 minutes to our final destination according to ForeFlight. You don't follow the rule. Yeah, yeah. You know, at the beginning of the year, I made a commitment to try to do a better job at that. And, you know, to be honest with you, I haven't been on Pilot Edge as much as I really want to. I should be on there more. I'm going to get back to that. It's just, you know, with all the VR Aviation FBO, now that the FBOs and our networks are kind of set and built, I can get back to that, you know, because I spent a lot of time, you know, getting in the Challenger and doing fast flights just to dump stuff off at different FBOs, and there was a lot of time doing that. That's why I have so many flights. A lot of them are like, you know, short flights to dump stuff off. And, you know, it was more like, it wasn't really going through the motion of what you would actually do in real life. So now that that's kind of over, and, you know, we've got two nice networks. We really do have two nice networks. I think we're like at 36 FBOs total. We have 21 in the east, or 20 in the east, and like 16, 17 in the west, I think, something like that. Just added a bunch in the west, so we're pretty set there, and I don't see any expansion of those at this point. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to build up our cash, maybe buy some planes, and you know, just build up things that way. In any event, so now I'll have more time for real world, or not real world, but flying as you would in the real world. You might have barrel rolled. Well, you barrel rolled the Mooney. I actually crashed the Challenger. I was flying into, where was I flying? I can't remember. One of our smaller airports in the east, dropping off some supplies or something. Short runway, and on those short runways, I like to come in and have the wheels hit at about 115 knots, and then you can usually slow that plane down without, you know, using the reverse thrusters, but sometimes I use them. But in any event, this time I came in a little too hot and rolled past the fence and over a cliff. But thankfully, the FSEconomy flight stood, so I was able to not have to fly that again. But still, it was a pretty terrible job. But I had my share of those mishaps too. So the good news is that they're not in real life, and everybody walks away alive. So, in any event, all right. Well, let's get to it now that we're at altitude. Yeah. I mean, I've flown the Cirrus inverted. It flies pretty well inverted, actually. I've never tried the Mooney. I haven't tried this. I'm going to try this one inverted to see how that goes. But in any event, all right, let's get to the VR Aviation update. Let me do that. All right, so if you guys don't know, VR Aviation is our FSE group. We've got over 60 pilots. We've got two networks, one in the east, one in the west. Actually, let me pull up this so I can give an overview of those of you who aren't familiar, because a lot of people aren't. This is our website, vraviation.wixsite.com/vraviation, because I'm too cheap to buy a URL and to get it for free to get to advertise. But anyway, that's our livery for the Challenger, which we do have one thanks to Megaphone. We also have a livery for PC-12 here, B1900B and 208. And I'll show you the liveries in a second. We have a bunch of others. So you can see here 27 aircraft and growing, 36 FBOs and two networks, one out of KBTM, which is where we are now. And in the east, our hub is WWD, which is Cape May, Wildwood. 60 plus members, and the whole idea is, common mission is to have fun. And these are our networks. So here you can see the BTM network right there in Montana, and that's the eastern network, all hubbed out of the lower part of New Jersey, goes into western Pennsylvania, up into New York, and into Maryland and Virginia. So it's a nice, two nice networks with lots of cool places to fly. There's our Challenger. We've got the Mooney livery. We've got the PC-12, and there's the livery I'm flying now for the DA-62. You see pilots are on 45%, and we pay all the fuel and flights for when you basically fly group planes. When you fly group flights with group planes. Just go to VR Aviation, go to the group menu, list all, look for the VR Aviation group, hit that join button, and apply for the membership. I wish they'd make that a little bit easier, like have like a membership link. But here's the aircraft that we have. 2 B-1900Ds, one at LaGuardia, one at Wildwood, Cape May. We have 3 Barons, 2 in the east, 1 in the west. We've got King Air C-90 in the west. We've got a King Air 200. We've got a Bell 407 in the west. Challenger in the west. We've got 4 Skyhawks. We've got 3 in the west and 1 in the east. Let's see. We've got 3 Caravans. We don't have a Caravan in the east. That might be our next plane. We've got an SR-20 in the east. We got 2 Diamonds, one in the west, which we own, and 1 in the east, which I leased. A lot of these planes are leased by other people to the group, and I'll talk about that in a second. We've got a DC-3 in the west, 2 Moonies, 1 in the east, 1 in the west, Bravo, and 20 Bravos. 2 PC-12s, 1 in Tampa, which is a great place to fly the PC-12, and 1 in the east. Tri-Pacer, 2 Arrows, and Warrior. So we've got lots of planes to fly, and we're always growing. If you're interested in, we have some reports on our site, so you can always see how pilots are doing, their income, their total flights, their fees, profit margin, and you can see day to day here if you want to just see how we did on a particular day. Scroll down here and see that on May 22nd, we had an income of $162,000, profit margin of 37%. So cool. This report was done by Mike, N1316MC is his handle on FSE and on my Discord. So, and this is the network. You can always go to this page, FBO Network, and you can click on any one of these links and go right to the airport, which is nice. And there's our Eastern network. It's looking nice there, both of them. Anyway, so that's our website. That's the overview of what VR Aviation is all about. As far as the money goes, right now we've got about 700,000 total. You can see VR Aviation East-West. We break this up so we can manage the FBOs a little bit better. East and West, about 700,000 right now, and growing. We just made some pretty big purchases, which I'll talk about in a second. Right, let's see here. Well, that's okay, Crash. It's okay, but the one thing I did see is your profitability is awesome. I know that you were working on that last month, so that's kind of cool that you were able to improve that. It's awesome. All right, so let's see here. Let me get to back to Chrome here. All right, so let's take a look at our monthly statement. Right now, almost 3.2 million in revenue, and about 1.1 million in net revenue, which is great, net income. That's the number we pay our contest on. Aircraft operation is basically rentals, and rental income. So after expenses and fuel and all that stuff, we have a profit of 116K. Always good to have a green number there. So looking good there. As far as the FBOs go, if we look at the East monthly statement, we've got a profitability of $126,000, which is great. And we've got 466 flights so far this month, which is quite a bit. If we look at the West, our profitability is 68, just about 67,000, which is great. Always good to be profitable. And 237. So what's that? Almost 800 flights. So we're going to be up there in flights for the month. We're going to definitely be up there for flights for the month. So that's the statements, and doing very, very well. Let's take a look at our FBOs. So a couple of big things. So let me go to FBOs for the East first. And you can see here, we added a lot of FBOs in the last month. We recently added DAA, DMW, FDK, let's see, 85, 81. I know I'm missing one. Oh, a K-Way, another one. So, and these are like we've been trying to focus on 2-lot FBOs. We have a couple of 1-lot FBOs. We've been trying to focus on 2-lot FBOs, and you can see we're very well supplied. You know, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep things above 100 days. I'm trying to get them to 200 days so I don't have to worry about it, resupplying them. But in any event, we're very well supplied and plenty of fuel. So, below 85, we got some fuel on the way there. Anyway, so that's that FBO. If you look at the West, we just added a couple, and the ones we added were, let's see here, we added one U4, 79S, KCII, S68, and S72. So those are new additions to that, and we've got tons of supplies and stuff here too. So we're going to be getting these supplies up so that we again want to keep it around 200 days, so we don't have to worry about it for half a year, you know. And now it's, you know, now that we've got these networks in place, now it's all about, you know, if we can fly in these 2 networks. When you fly in the network, any FBO expense or fuel expense, if you're using a plane from our group, all that money goes back into the group. And it's also like a spider web, so people that are coming in from outside the group that are flying, we're getting that money too. So it's all, you know, the whole idea is for the FBOs to be self-sustaining, to pay for their own supplies and fuel, which we have our fuel prices set so we can do that. And then also, you know, to make money on the FBO fees and stuff and the repairs, so that we can have a profitable operation. All right, so that's the FBO. Let's take a look at aircraft now. We went all over those before. You can see a lot of these are leased from different people. Myself, Grunge Buddy, B2, AirDog Leasing, N1316 Megaphone leases the Challenger to us. Sapper has a Skyhawk. AirDog has a couple more. ICOZ has at least a 210 Centurion. A nice plane. Diamond for me, we own a Diamond. So the planes we own we own 2 Barons. You see the NFS, not for sale, that's how we own them. 2 Barons, we own a Bell 407 chopper, we own a Skyhawk, and we own a Diamond. So those are the planes that we own. Everything else is leased from people at 0 cost, so we don't pay any money for those leases. We do pay the maintenance fees on those. Because my theory is if someone's leasing us their plane, we make enough money where we can pay the fees on them, because we're getting the benefits of the rentals. And the way it works is if you're in the group and you rent a plane, that money goes right back into the group. So it's not like it costs anything. And it certainly doesn't cost the pilot anything, because your fees come right off the pot, so you don't have to worry about rentals and stuff. And the same with the bonuses. But the reason why we have those rents is someone outside the group rents the plane, we're making a little bit of money, and if they happen to leave it, you know, away from home, we could bring it back and make that bonus money, which helps out too. So, in any event, that's the theory behind it. Those are our planes. So, all in all, the group is doing very, very well, and thanks to everyone for helping us build up the cash that we needed to do the things that we did. I mean, you know, we bought a lot of FBOs, and it cost money. We bought a lot of planes that cost money, and you know, having you guys all working hard to build up the cash reserves have helped us build this up, and it's a lot of fun. So, anyway, that's the story of that, and appreciate that. So let's get back to the plane here, make sure everything's okay. Trust in the autopilot. Yep, we're good. We got 56 miles to go before our first waypoint. We got 36 miles to Burt Mooney. Everything looking good down there. Rolling the green. We're burning about 15 gallons an hour. No. Yeah. 15 gallons per hour. And the way I have this set up is we should kind of like serpentine into our approach into Burt Mooney. So let me get coming into Helena here. So let's do what M9 said. Let's monitor Helena's frequency. So SETCOM 1 118.3.
COM 1 set to 118.3.
That's the map. SETCOM 1 122.95.
COM 1 set to 122.905.
SETCOM 2 120.4.
COM 2 set to 120.4.
Alright, so now we got our ATIS, so let's just check out COM 2.
Helena Regional Information Kilo. 1800 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 7, dew point -14. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runway 35, departing runway 35. Advise on initial contact, you have Kilo.
Alright, so that's Helena. We're not landing in Helena, but as M9 said, we're monitoring Helena radio, so that, and we're flying VFR, we're squawking altitude, so if they want to talk to us, we'll be able to hear them. And so we're good to go there. Alright, so you guys are talking racing, iRacing. You guys like, you know, I was thinking about, what is it? Let's see. Is iRacing is a monthly subscription? Because I was thinking about buying Project Cars too. I have Project Cars, but I think the attraction with iRacing is it's online, right? And if you guys are all on iRacing yearly, what does it cost a year? Is it $15 a year? That's it? Because I guess is it multiplayer where you could like race with other people, like your friends and stuff? Or you're gonna check that. Cool. Yeah, I looked at how is it? I want to get the best one in VR. People have said that iRacing's pretty good in VR. That the other one, was it a Corsa, whatever it's called? No dickheads. Well, that's good. That's always a plus. Let's get back to here. And I was looking at Project Cars 2, $66 a year. It's on sale. And is it pretty cool in VR? Like, is it pretty good in VR? Because I know Project Cars is pretty amazing in VR. And a sort of Corsica, whatever it's called, that one is supposed to be really good in VR too. Oh, you got to pay for the track. Oh. So, do you get any tracks for free? Like with your 66 bucks? Hope so. Okay, you gotta buy car. Now, what about, does it have F1 cars? All right, so they have seasons. I'll check into it. You don't have to. I'll check into it. So I've been thinking about getting back into sim racing. I was doing some of that with Project Cars, and I used to do a lot of American truck. Is it American Truck? It's a money pit. Well, so is X-Men. Right. But maybe not as bad as iRacing. Anyway, so let me get back to let's get back to this. I want to talk about something very cool. SimVRLabs. SimVRLabs.com. This guy, Joe, he's on our VR Aviation group on Facebook. He's done some really cool stuff, and what he's basically doing is he's enhancing the VR manipulation of planes. And he started with the B-58 and the 172, and he's since done the 208, which is now with the 208 and the PC-12, you can operate the autopilot in VR with his modifications. Now, again, his modifications aren't officially supported, but you make a copy of the old plane, and you put modify a couple files. It's really simple, and all of a sudden now in the PC-12 and the 208, you have autopilot on. You can touch with a touch controller, which is unbelievable. It's great. Actually, everything on there you can. And he's constantly trying to fix things. He's got a bunch of planes in the hopper that he's working on. He's done some work on the Diamond. This plane we're flying, the DA-62, where the flight stick isn't better. He's the rudder trim knob, panel floodlights, backlights, and adjustable dome lights. So he's tweaked a few. He also does teleporting in the seats, as I mentioned before. So, and this is all free. So make sure you check this out. SimVRLabs. It's free. He does accept donations. Pop him a donation because the guy's doing some great work. Some of the things he has in the work is the Just Flight Arrow 3, the PA-31, the Bell 209. I know that SAP would be interested in that. P-51D, 404 Titan, and the IXEG 737 300, if you will. And always looking at maybe the B-1900D, but the more donations he gets, the more planes he's going to be doing. So this guy's bridging the gap between third-party planes that are not yet VR compatible, and it's a really cool thing that he's doing. So make sure you check it out, SimVRLabs. All right, and if you want to chat with him, he's on our Facebook page, which is VR Aviators Group. Right here, the VRAG, VR Aviators Group. And if you want to chat with him, he's usually on there. There's Joe Kipfer right there. This is the guy. So you can check that out. And he was actually looking for interest. And if you donate a plane to him, if you buy him the plane, if you really want the VR, he'll basically he'll do that. Now I think he's getting a little bit of a queue, which is good for him. But make sure you check that out. All right, it's SimVRLabs.com. We'll put that link in the chat. SimVRLabs.com. Doing some great work. Definitely worth checking out. Right? Alrighty, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about was I'm planning a group flight in Pilot Edge, and what I wanted to do is do it in an area where whatever subscription you have for Pilot Edge, you can be part of it. So it's got to be out of the area. So I'm thinking about Alaska. Alaska's pretty cool. It's got a lot of mountains and lakes and bays and stuff to fly around. So I thought that would be kind of a cool thing to do. Originally I wanted to do Telluride area, but unless you have a subscription to the west, you're not going to be able to fly there in Pilot Edge. So we're going to probably do Alaska, and I'll range it probably for like a Saturday or a Sunday in the morning probably, so that we could accommodate the folks over in the UK, and hopefully we'll get a bunch of people there. We'll just do GA planes. We want something that flies 155 knots or less, and we'll basically take off from an airport and fly a flight plan together, and formations, whatever we want to do, and probably use chatter on my Discord. We'll set up a Discord channel to do chatter, so we don't clog up the frequency on Pilot Edge, and it'd be kind of cool. So look for that in the future, and again, hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. All right, we're coming up on Helena, so we're monitoring that channel here. Let me just make sure. Just check ATIS
Helena
again.
Regional Information Kilo. 1900 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 7, dew point -14.
We don't do that
Altimeter
again.
2.
All right. Just beautiful. All right, so let's set up our altitudes here. So we're going to be coming, we're at 9,500, we're going to be coming, if you look at the upper left hand. So we're going to be landing at 5,551 at Bert Mooney, BTM. So we've got us coming at about 7,000 here, so we probably want to be at about 8,000. These peaks here are a little higher. We're coming in the valley, so we should be okay at about 8,000. And then 2,500 feet down to KBTM. Fly that and fly that. So should be pretty easy. Yeah, Montana is cool because you get all this beautiful scenery. Especially if you've got the ortho set up. Last night I set up, I think I did about 20 tiles overnight because there was a bunch of places in this area. I had most of it done, but there was a bunch of places that I had to fill in. Oh, please don't crash! Please don't crash! Did I crash? Nope. Woo! Got that black screen. I thought I was crashing. Oh, don't crash. Nope. Must be a scenery change. You know, I've got a 6 terabyte drive. I've got half of it used, pretty much. About half of it used. No, more than that, actually. About 2/3 of it used with ortho. I have 475 tiles right now. So it's the eastern U.S., a lot of the western U.S., part of the U.K., all down in the Caribbean, up in Alaska. Like 475 tiles, something like that. No, I don't do 18. I do 17 everywhere, and then I do 18. I have it set up to do 18 within 5 kilometers of an airport, any airport. So that way, the thought is when you're landing, you get really, really, really cool visuals. And you know, ever since I upped the textures to maximum, it makes a big difference. It just looks so much clearer, you know. Thankfully, 1.20 of X-Plane has, you know, the performance has been pretty damn good. So, all right, we got 17 miles to our turn here. My guess is that's about 20 miles to those mountains. Let me just see where I turn. Yeah, I think I turned right well before those peaks there. Yeah, I agree. After VR4, it started to get better. You're right. And the current version, I don't know what they did, but like I said, when it first came out, when VR first came out, I had my head in it technically, and I was, you know, kind of like watching every little thing. And I got to the point where it was just, you know, too much, and I wasn't flying. You know, I was spending more time checking frame rates and worrying about tweaking and blah. Once they switched everything over for Oculus users to use Oculus instead of Steam VR, that's what changed everything. Once that happened, everything got better. And now I'm sure, you know, those guys are, you know, Chris and Ben and those guys are just tweaking things here and there. But it's very, very usable. I mean, it's a third-party plane, and it's, you know, it's awesome. There's no stuttering, very little stuttering. I mean, I'm looking out here. Look down. You can see this is how the ground is slowly moving underneath us, as if it would in real life. Looks pretty real to me, man. World objects, I'm still on medium. I haven't upped that. I still think that's a killer. So I don't worry too much about world objects because you have ortho, and when you fly high in ortho, the buildings and stuff in ortho look three-dimensional, especially if they've got some shadowing. And what I found too is if you fly at like dusk or like dawn, where it's a little bit darker, the ortho buildings in ortho, even at lower levels, look real. They look three-dimensional. Even though it's two-dimensional, it looks three-dimensional. So, you know, objects, I don't worry too much about that because everything I have is ortho. So I'm fine with medium, and if that keeps the frame rates down, so be it. Frames dropped by 10. Well, Paris, I don't know, are you running, is that stock Paris, or do you have like third-party Paris scenery? I can tell you right now, like I bought that New York scenery from that dude, I forget his name, Dozecki, whatever his name is. You can never pronounce it. $50, or I got it on sale. I can't run that. I can't run that in 2D. It's so dense. That type of scenery will not be practical until Vulkan's completely implemented, because you don't have enough CPU utilization for X-Plane to be able to, you have enough CPU for X-Plane to use to process all that. But look right down there. You can't really tell if that's real world, if that's autogen, or if that's ortho. From up here, it all looks real. So that's why, like I said, you fly at altitude, you don't really need world objects. It helps you around the airports, right? Because you want to have all that, those buildings and stuff around the airports. And medium gives you enough around the airports. SimHeaven Europe 2. Yeah, I looked at that SimHeaven for the forests. I haven't implemented that yet. I haven't implemented that. I think you told me, Crash, about SimHeaven. Either you or Joe. I can't remember who told me about that, but I haven't put that in yet. Everything's running so well. I'm kind of apprehensive about messing with it, because things are just running so well. All right, so we're going to make a left turn here into that valley. I probably can start coming down here. Altitude 9,000?
Altitude 9,000 feet.
Just go down 300 feet per minute. Slowly go down. So we gain a little airspeed and get down to our altitude. John Fly uses it too. Yeah, I like the idea of the forest one because I don't know if it was you or someone else was telling me that with the forest, it gets rid of all those trees like on the beaches and stuff. It's pretty big. It's like 2 gig. So I was thinking about implementing that. Yeah, so we shall see. Because when you fly in the east, there is a lot of autogen, a lot of trees, a lot of buildings. Out here there's less autogen because it's, it's basically barren land, most of it, right? So you don't have a lot of autogen, which is why you get great, flight experiences out here. I'm trying to get away from even saying the word frame rates. And we're gonna have to make it over that peak. Let's see. I mean, everything on the map here tells me that I don't have anything. There's 81. How many cutting that close. Yeah, I think I better go up here. Become quite happier with stock scenery. Yeah, that's fine. The only thing about stock scenery is that it's repetitive. You know, it is kind of repetitive. I should be good at 9,000. In real life, I'd go to 10,000, but in virtual life, I'm going to stay at 9,000 right now. Because what I found too is when you look out in VR, the mountains always look higher than they really are. You think they're higher than they really are. You know, it's not like in real life. I don't think you get a full perspective of, you know, you're actually you're how you are on plane. Like, let me go to the back of the plane here. That's the plane. You can see I'm above the mountains, right? That's probably level with the plane. In any event, if we get close, as you can see, it's already coming down, so we should be fine. Have a vertical mode, shows you the vertical profile of your route. You know, it probably does, but I'm only paying for the $99 version, so there's a lot of features that I don't get, like with the $180 version or whatever it is. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, you think you're too low, but you're not. It might be a VR thing. I don't know, M9, is that in real life when you're looking out? Do you think that you're lower than you really are when you look at like peaks and stuff? Although you probably don't fly where there's a lot of peaks. But I always find in VR, in X-Plane VR, you get that sense. Is that a VR thing or is that a real world thing? Well, I mean, you know, you've got, yeah, you never flown a terrain like that. I mean, if you look in the upper left-hand corner here, this is the foreflight. I zoom in here, and I could see where the peaks are, right? This is telling me that this 81.5, right? 8,150, right? And this is telling me that this one here is 7,780. So you've got that information. That's basically VFR information, or I should say sectional chart information. Yeah, in the Poconos you're going to get that. So, I mean, when you're flying into like the Poconos, like way back there, it looked that we were too low, and now you could obviously see we're not, right? We're fine. So I think it's maybe the angle, maybe that you're sitting in the cockpit, you know. Anyway, whatever. Not going to worry about it. All right, we got. Let's see, where are we here? I think we're going to be flying all the way. We are 12 miles from our... No. Sorry, we are 28 miles away from... No, actually more than that. Hold on. That's 30 miles away. All right, you get that in IRL. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Maybe then that's good that these guys are basically, you know, mimicking that, you know. But you know, I guess you got to trust your eyes, but you need to trust your instrumentation too, right? But yeah, I'll have to see if it's got the vertical profiling. I'm not sure. I think it does, but it's in the more costly. So you don't use ForeFlight, I guess, when you fly. Fly QEFB, most of all my pilots. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. So how does that, what is the, straight and level, nose is always below the horizon. How do those iPad apps communicate? So is it cellular communication or is it satellite communication? Because, I mean, you could fly above the cell towers, right? So isn't there like a limit to how high the cell towers can, or maybe I'm not familiar with wireless above, standard cellular. I know M9 is a networking comms guy, so as am I. So I'm interested to know when you're in the cockpit. I know you've got some communication unit in there for flight or which fly queue, whatever people are using to communicate with a database somewhere to give it flight information and then correlate where you are using, I guess, GPS, right? So it's got to talk to some server somewhere. Combination of things. One U typical little. Okay. But is there there must be real-time communication, and then there's. Okay, so is there real-time communication for the app? Like, is the app talking to a server someplace in real time? Or is it just GPS moving the chart along? All right, looks like we...
Destination ASOS is 135.175.
All right, I guess we could set our comms here. So let's get to Bert Mooney. We're going to go set com 1 123.0.
Com 1 set to 123.0.
Set com 2 135.175.
Com 2 set to 135.175.
So it's all coming from GPS. There's no other communication with, that's basically the link, GPS. All right, let's see. Let's check our ATIS.
Bert Mooney weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 4, dew point -14. Altimeter 2992.
All right, so we're about 20 miles, so let's see. That 1.5er. Bert Mooney traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha. We are 20 miles and let's see, north of the airport, and we're going to be landing on runway 15, full stop landing. We're at 9,000 feet. And again, runway 15, straight in approach, Bert Mooney. That's a shitty ball. Well, no, the GPS is the facilitator XM weather. ADBS, okay, all go into GPS. GPS just interface on the tablet. Okay, so it's ADSB. All right. Gotcha. So ADSB is the I guess what is the wireless network that is used to communicate? That's my question. What wireless technology is used to communicate with all those planes, GA planes that are flying. We've got some unit, we've got the Stratix unit. I'm assuming that's the receiver, right? Transmitter and receiver. What is the technology, the protocol that's used? That's what I question. Protocol. All right, so Bert Mooney is coming up, and we could start to descend here. So let's take her down to 7. Bert Mooney, traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha at 8,700 feet. We are descending into the area going to be landing Bert Mooney, runway 15, full stop landing. We're north of the airport. Bert Mooney. What a terrible call. Bert Mooney traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha. We are 10 miles north of the airport. We'll be landing at runway 15. We're at 8,500 feet. Bert Mooney. A little better. Ground towers that broadcast ASP proprietary comms. Okay. ADSB. ADSB. All right, now I got it. All right, 900 to 1,000 megahertz. So that basically that range is reserved for aviation, aviation communication. I'm assuming. Coming over the gravel pit there. I always wonder what that lake is there. Now let's focus on our landing. There's our runway. Boom, right there. So this should be nice and easy peasy. Bert Mooney traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha. We are 7 miles north of the airport. We're landing runway, straight in approach, we're landing runway 15, full stop landing, Bert Mooney. This area looks really cool in 3D because it's actually like a pit. It's like some sort of mine where they've dug down into, maybe it's a silver mine, I don't know. All right, let's focus on it. Let's see. So gear, it's not up yet. Well, we got a little bit of ways here. Let's see. We got 5. Bert Mooney traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha, 5 miles north of the airport. Straight in approach, runway 15, full stop landing. Bert Mooney. All right, let's get the 139's first flap, so we get those going. Start to slow that plane down. Set our trim. Goes up. See down there, pretty cool quarry or something, water-filled quarry. Right, let's focus on landing now. All right, get that gear down, full flaps. Full flaps in this plane is at 119. Like to be at about 80 over the fence. Bert Mooney traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha on short final runway 15, full stop. Bert Mooney. This area looks cool in ortho and VR, man. It really does. All right, 92 knots, probably right about there. We're coming down nicely. We've got our flaps right. Got our gear down. So gas is good, undercarriage is good, mixture we don't have to worry about. We're using ECU, so we don't have to worry about props and that stuff. So I guess GUMPS doesn't apply when you're flying a Diamond. It's just GUH. GUS because you need seat belts, right? People's seat belts is part of the acronym. All right, 87. Just adjusting that trim a little bit. We'll go check out the VR Aviation hangar once we lay this beast down here. All right, there's 80. Get our flare going. And we'll throttle down right about here. Nice, easy landing. Beautiful. Clean up those flaps. Moon traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha is clear, runway 15, taxiing to
approaching runway 1230.
Mooney. All right, we're gonna cross Mooney traffic, Diamond 328 Delta Alpha crossing runway 32, Mooney. It's amazing it's a non-towered airport. Pretty big airport. To be non-towered. All right. Go over here by our buddies. PC-12, 208. Maybe we'll bring her inside the hangar. We gotta have the brakes checked. Go between these planes here. Would never do this in real life. Actually, yeah, we'll go over here. Go this way. There's RV Aviation, created by M9. Thank you very much. Beautiful building. And if you fly at night, it's all lit up inside here, which is really cool. There's a VR Aviation, and there's M9 Aviation right up there, his logo. Pretty cool. Set parking brake?
Parking brakes set.
All right. Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, PA Fbos. I guess I'm saying that right. Appreciate that. Thank you. That was a pretty good landing, I'd say. All right, we're going to end FSEconomy. And then what we can do here is let me do a rewind. It's going to be a little bit here to rewind it.
Entered runway 1230.
All right, so now what we can do is we can, oops, that's not what I want to do. Let's teleport down here. And we can check it out. Pretty good landing. So let's do this. Let's do it one more time here. Let's do a rewind. There we go. We'll play her again. Nice, decent flare. Yeah. I landed on the back wheels a little bit, but probably could have done a little bit better flare there. But anyway, we'll take it. All right, we'll end that replay. Back in the cabin here. Shut everything down. So basically we're going to do throttle down. And pretty simple, we're going to do Aviation Master off. We had our fuel pumps going the whole time there. We're just going to go Master off. Oops. Master's off. And then oops. Come on. Then battery off. And that'll kill the plane. Looks nice in that hangar there, doesn't it? Very nice. Not bad, not bad. Let's see. There's someone had a brake hard on. Oh, okay. Someone burned the tires off from the start. Wow. Yeah, teleporting's really cool. B9, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining. A little bit late to the party, but good to join. Never saw a plane take off like that? Wheelbarrowed it, yeah. Yeah. In any event, yeah, so this is, teleporting's cool. I mean, you can go, I don't know if we can go up these stairs here. We can go up here. No. Inside the building. You can't really go up the stairs, but there's M9's logo and all the logos of all the planes that we fly. Nice touch. The Beechcraft, the Pilatus, the Cirrus, the Piper, the Mooney, and the Cessna. You got to have a diamond logo up there, dude, because we got diamonds now. Isn't that a cool looking plane? Some people say it's ugly. You know what? I don't think it's ugly. I think it's really cool looking. Ooh, did I mess up that gear? No. We're inside the plane there. Anyway, guys, listen, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to sign off now. And going to start to do some Discording. I know M9 is probably going to join me at some point for a stream. And maybe Joe from SimVRLabs might have him join too, just to have some chat while we're flying and add some dimension to it. So in any event, look for that in the future. Look for the group flight in the future. I appreciate you guys watching today. Isn't that odd? There's a fuel truck inside the hangar. It's kind of weird, driving through the wall. All right. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And yeah, look for some cool stuff to happen soon. And if I don't talk to you soon, well, I'm probably be streaming over the weekend. So we'll talk to you then, guys. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great evening. Take care.